through the years,
You had enough of this in and out sports music? Come on. That's sluggish, isn't it? I mean, I love the theme, extreme sports music, but come on. I love Tom Brady. And there are so many things that I thought, okay, Tennessee Volunteers are probably only for the second time in their entire history on the hardwood. Probably today that is probably going to happen. I said it would before mid-February. Today is the day it is probably going to happen. And that's the local story that I, your voice of choice, Marky Bilson, for a new generation of Tri-City sports fans, you'd think that I would want to lead with, perhaps. Okay, because it's local. ETSU falling to UNCG. By the way, we'll have Steve Forbes on at 12:30 and then SoCon John Hooper on at 1:30 to talk about it. And where are the Bucks right now? Week of rest. Yeah, the problem with that loss is that for all Wes Miller saying, you know what, ETSU is as good as any basketball team in the country, including Tennessee, including Duke, including Virginia, including Virginia Tech, including whoever you want to name. It's, 6 weeks now, and then we see if, the third best team in a conference can get hot. I mean, that's what the season has kind of come down to, which is a problem of mid-major basketball, and it's a problem when you try to have 351 teams all play at the same level, which, by the way, I certainly think ETSU is a lot closer to number one than they are 351. A lot closer. But when you have so many teams in, this is sort of the haves and the have-nots, even though the SoCon might be the best basketball conference it's ever been. But we'll talk to SoCon John Hooper about that at 1:30 and Steve Forbes at 12:30 about all those things. So that's another local issue that I could bring up. About Saints was robbed! Actually, I don't think they were. No, I really don't think that. You heard me here, folks. I think that the New Orleans Saints had every opportunity to win that football game, and they didn't capitalize. If you want to get right down to it, that's what I think. I think that you had a circumstance where, first of all, what is Sean Payton doing calling a pass and some woeful clock mismanagement? What about that? The incomplete pass that leads to the Saints. Sean Payton says the Saints will never get over the blown pass interference call. No, you want to know what you should never get over? I'll tell you what you should never get over. Your play calling, Sean Payton. You're fortunate that Nickel Roby-Coleman was playing the man and not the ball, which is why he didn't intercept that pass and return it for the game-winning touchdown. Don't give me this. I've talked about this many times. I think the worst sports talk show host of all time was the fabulous sports babe. Pete Rose, and then the fabulous sports babe. And I wanted to say that the one thing that the sports babe, if you never heard her, she was carried locally 20 years ago. She made some bad career decisions. What the deal was, it was the most ESPN hire of all time. They decided when the ESPN radio network was going to go 24/7, hey, the idea of the sports talk show host, and I like this, the traditional one, is kind of what you hear with Pete Franklin, kind of what you hear with, Jim Rome or something, where It is, Mark Madden in Pittsburgh is a good example of this, but it's an attack style is what I call it. And Franklin once wrote a book about his sports talk show, and he says, my show begins with this, the concept that I know everything and you know nothing. And that was the attitude that was taken out on there. So, it was very, demeaning to callers. And I choose not to take calls because, frankly, I'm listening to a sports talk show that takes calls this morning. And you know what they're talking about? A guy calls up, I want to talk about Phil Nicholson. Nobody wants to hear about Phil Nicholson right now. That's not the story. The story is a football game. Tennessee's going to be number one in the country, and even I can't get over the fact that something happened yesterday in Kansas City, Missouri, that I think is historically relevant. I think Tom Brady just entered into the conversation, and I will call him the greatest. Else I can, and the thing was going to happen. You absolutely knew it was going to happen. And by the way, spare me the he cheats, the inflation of a football. Who gives a damn? Who gives a damn? I love SoCon John Hooper has actually given me on Facebook a great line, and actually he's got the secretariat. Okay, within his own species, Tom Brady is the greatest athlete of all time. The horse species will go with secretariat. Okay, we'll do that there. But I'm serious. Ali, Jordan, Gretzky, Lewis, either Carl or Joe, Nicholas, Pele, Ruth, Thorpe, if not above. Tom Bull, outside of the New England Patriots, that's more than every team in the NFL. The Steelers, the Cowboys, they have made the Super Bowl 8 times. Brady alone 9. He has literally gone to the Super Bowl more times than any other franchise in the National Football League. We have had 53% of the Super Bowls. All right, 53% of the Super Bowl. 53%, listen to me, 53%, listen to me, I'm screwing this up. We have had 53 Super Bowls, or we will have 53 Super Bowls. Tom Brady will have played in 17 of them. I can't speak. Tom Brady will have played in 17% of all Super Bowls. And we're going to be playing 53 of them. And why that's screwing me up is I'm trying to compare it to when Terry Bradshaw and Joe Green and the Steelers are the Super Bowls in the 70s. And so after the Steelers were done with going with Super Bowls, they had gone to, at that point, and there had only been 14 Super Bowls played, 29% of them. 4 of 14, 2/7 it was 29%. Tom Brady, and it's now, 53 Super Bowls. We are at the circumstance of Super Bowls where the World Series was when Don Larson was pitching his perfect game. It's established. He's been in 17% of them. Let me say, before the ball game, Bob Kraft told reporters he thought Brady was the greatest football player of all time. How are you going to argue with that now? How are you going? I'm thinking even Jim Brown. Okay, that's the sort of, people want to say Jim Brown is the greatest football player of all time. Okay? Oh, he went out on top. Tom Brady is on top. He's 41. For Jim Brown to do what Tom Brady is, he would have had to have played 12 more years and continue to average 5.2 yards a carry. Jim Brown saw the writing on the wall that Leroy Kelly was going to beat him out in a year, and he retired. Okay? Tom Brady, greatest football player ever. 9 Super Bowls. End of the argument. More than any other team. And I know, we can talk NFL championships. I'm the guy who speaks of, Tom Brady going to 8 straight, the amount of teams that he has to beat out. How does that compare to when Otto Graham played for a league championship against a 12-team league, let's say, 10 straight years? It's a little bit more consistency there, but I mean, remember, Graham was doing that in the AAFC against all-white teams. Okay? I mean, the game was a little different back then. Brady isn't doing that. Brady, I just can't, okay, 9 Super Bowls. You know what happened the last time he played in one? If that long bomb to Rob Gronkowski goes in at the end of the ball game last year, he throws for more yards than any other quarterback ever did. If Gronk had caught that bomb, he would have broken Norm Van Brunt's passing yards in a game set back in 1951. And it probably, if they hit the 2-point conversion, then goes in OT, and Brady has more than 600 yards passing in a game. He doesn't just break Van Brocklin's record, he shatters it. Year before, he has the greatest comeback in NFL history. And Frank Reich, yes, I know you got 7 points on Tom Brady. Brady has the bigger stage. Super Bowl, not a wild card game. Before Tom Brady, the Pats were going to move to Hartford. Now, that was all taken care of. And, Gillette Stadium, oh, there you go. Anyway, Gillette Stadium was in the works by the time the Pats drafted him. But still, that's where the franchise was. Now it's as iconic as any brand in the NFL. Cowboys, Steelers, you name it. Number 12, always synonymous with great quarterbacks. Now it belongs to Brady. There was Bradshaw, there was Staubach, there was Greasy, there was Namath, there was Ken Stabler. And I'm going to the 70s quarterbacks. In today's era, you have Aaron Rodgers, all-time passer rating, and Andrew Luck playing aside him. And he stands alone as number 12. He's got the all-time leader in passing rating, Aaron Rodgers, playing with him in this era. No one's taken Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady. He doesn't just redefine football, he redefines aging. He's 41 years old. He's at the top of his game. I know his stats were like, threw 200 yards less than he did last year. Big deal. He's also got Sonny Michel on the team. Brett Favre, by the way, did also lead his team to a conference title game at the age of 41. Fell off the table after that. But what did he do in that conference championship game? Oh, yeah, when he was trying to put the Vikings in position for a field goal, he threw an interception. 2 minutes left in the ball game. Patriots need a touchdown. What does he do? Yeah, give me the ball. He's drive, gets a field goal to tie, overtime. You knew he would do it. You knew it was going to happen. Every stat in the book said the Chiefs were going to win this ball game. They had the best pass rush in the AFC. The Pats had the worst. Brady didn't take a sack. Mahomes was sacked 4 times. Brady is the GOAT. Brady is the GOAT. Brady is the GOAT, not just in football, all sports. All of them. Carl Lewis, long jump. Sorry, you won 9 gold medals. This guy's in 9 Super Bowls. I'm more impressed with 9 Super Bowls. Brady is the GOAT. They talk about George Blanda's longevity. George Blanda started his last football game at the age of 41. Look what Tom Brady is doing. Brady is the GOAT. I don't want to hear anything else about it. Brady is the GOAT. And that was established yesterday. Tri-City Sports Now.
Through the years, Sullivan South